Thanks very much for that, Dave, and thanks for the audience for coming tonight. Hope it's worth your trouble. So I'm going to compare a little bit a place where I used to be on the east coast and compare it with where I am now on the west coast. So the GBR, we know a lot about it. It has river runoff, crown of thorns, bleaching. So there's river runoff. This is a bleached reef. Of course, there's industry, crown of thorns, and this is the bleaching example, Heron Island. Now, WA, we used to think, at least, this is kind of when I made this talk up a year ago for students, that we had no runoff, a little bit of upwelling, very minor bleaching, and just the Lewin Current to worry about. And we have beautiful reefs like Ningaloo Reef, which is shown there, and also a fantastic subtropical, tropical reef almost, the Brollis Islands, which is one of the most fantastic places you can go. So it was kind of my view and the view that we had, and I think we still do actually, the most pristine reefs to look at. But recently in 2011, this summer, there was bleaching recorded at Ningaloo Reef. Also, just offshore Rottnest Island. This picture was taken in March. So what's happening? Coral bleaching. So it's, as shown here, this is a slide I borrowed from Andrew some time back. And it's, this is an effect due to high sea surface temperatures. It's the loss of the photosynthetic symbionts. And I think this is one of the most serious problems that reefs are facing. We know it's definitely due to temperature, because in the Great Barrier Reef, when this occurred in '98, we were actually able to follow a history of a coral through a bleaching event. And you can see when it reaches, this is temperature on this axis, and this is a ratio we measured in the coral. When it reached this maximum temperature, the whole system shut down and it bleached. We also, there's a concept I'll introduce. Well, we knew this occurred when it was about a degree or so above the mean summer temperature. And this is a curve I've taken off a recent paper that we've been discussing at our workshop from John Pandolfi. That if you have temperatures above the average summer maximum for numbers of days and weeks, then you reach a threshold at which the whole system starts to collapse and bleaching results. So this happened, I'll just show this quickly, what happened to our summer this year. So this is February 2011, and this is just a sea surface temperature anomaly map. It shows the temperatures being warmer than average. So you can see at this date, 7th of February, the warm water coming down our coast, and you can see it's right along this whole western coast. It's essentially the whole extent, several thousand kilometres, all the way from Exmouth, all the way down to around Albany. March, and then it kind of started to diminish a little bit mid-March. Now the other way to look at this is this degree heating weeks, which I'll show here. So this is the number of degree heating weeks that was on that for the past 12 weeks. This is taken from a US site, a NOAA site, where this data is kept. And ironically, to get the data, I had to go to a US site, I should say. It was a bit annoying, but anyway, we find this event, if you look at the strong purple colours, this is where the anomaly or the thermal stress is the greatest, and you can see it along this whole extent here. And in fact, this whole part of our coastline started to undergo bleaching. And you can see that anomaly increased. And this is now the middle of April. And you can see that while you guys in the east were getting lots of problems with floods, we were having this extraordinarily warm water across our whole western coastline. And this actually, I think the records we have showing bleaching from Ningaloo or Exmouth all the way down offshore Perth, this was probably one of the first recorded events that was so extensive along our coastline. So I'll now conclude. So I'm just pointing this out that we used to think we had the pristine reefs. We now have climate change in action. And what does this tell us about the future? These are questions I'm raising. There's no answers. We've been debating a lot about rates of can they acclimatise or adapt at a sufficiently fast rate. And is there anything we can do about it? So these were pictures of some of the bleached corals. I should say this is the Rottnest Island one. You can see how heterogeneous it is. There is some good news that the recovery, I've been hearing from people who've been at our workshop, that the recovery is looking quite optimistic. But we have to think, is this foretelling us of what the future will be, and will we end up being a problem, a reef, where events such as this are common and the quality of our reef is degraded. And on the right, I should show that there's different models that our chair, Terry Hughes, has discussed where if there's no adaptation or where there's different species can adapt. And this actually shows if there is some adaptation that's rising temperatures, there can be different outcomes. So the question is what's going to happen, and that's what I pose now. Thank you.